At 4, ABC 10 News at 5 starts right now.
Space is dwindling at local hospitals as cases of COVID-19 continue to surge. The desperate plea local leaders are making to San Diegans.
And a local biotech company is moving forward with trials of its coronavirus vaccine. What makes Inovio's vaccine candidate different than others?
ABC 10 News at 5 starts now.
First, nervous moments for people in Santee this afternoon when a brush fire came close to their homes and power lines, prompting evacuations. Good evening, I'm Lindsay Pena.
And I'm Derek Stahl. Steve Atkinson has the night off. Sky 10 was overhead as firefighters stood just feet away from those flames and pounced on them quickly. The so-called Chaparral fire was reported just before 2 this afternoon near Cuyamaca Street and Chaparral Drive. The fire sparked amid Santa Ana conditions and some gusty winds. We're going to check in with meteorologist Angelica Campos in just a moment. We begin our coverage tonight with ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo. She's live in Santee. Laura, still a big scene out there.
Yeah, and crews are still out here. You can see them behind me. Just moments ago, people were able to get back into their homes, and I just want to show you, we just spoke to the homeowner of this house right here, and you can see behind his home that charred hillside. That is how close the fire came to his home. He says this has happened before in 07 and 03, and both times firefighters have been able to stop the fires before they get any closer to their properties. Now let's get to some video from Sky 10 from earlier this afternoon. White smoke filled the air and flames burned down the dry hills. Fire was first reported at 1:30, and flames were filling the open field behind these homes that I'm just showing you right now. This, of course, on Chaparral Drive and Cuyamaca Streets. Now, some homeowners were put on evacuation notice, like the homeowner that I just spoke to, and he says that they actually didn't leave their house, but they did pack up some valuables just in case they did need to leave. But again, they were just allowed back in a few moments ago. Firefighters still working on some hot spots. We've seen them removing brush and also putting water on that burned hillside. Reporting live in Santee, Laura Acevedo, ABC 10 News.
And we talked about the potential for fire danger due to Santa Ana conditions, and it's already very dry around the county, especially for the East County. Now, the good news is that this is going to be just for tonight, and then tomorrow we'll start to see some changes. But in the meantime, with the fire burning, certainly not a good situation. Relative humidity averaging around 17–18% in that area near Santee, El Cajon, and Alpine. But closer to the coast, it is looking a little bit better. As far as the winds go, the winds are coming now out of the west in the Santee region, so we've seen a shift already, and we're going to go from Santa Ana conditions to westerly winds, but the concern is going to be the winds picking back up as we go into tomorrow. The temperature is also averaging right around 64 degrees. It was a warmer day around the county, but we are expecting a cool down and even a chance for a passing shower. I'll show you what it looks like around the county and how good of a chance we have in store.
All right, thanks, Angelica. Now to the coronavirus pandemic. California reporting a record-breaking 53,711 new cases of COVID-19. That is the highest number of cases the state has seen in a single day since the pandemic began. And another 293 people died of the virus in the 24-hour period. Here in San Diego County, local hospitals are struggling as they run out of space due to a surge in cases.
ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer De La Cruz has the warning from the county.
Dr. Wilma Wooten stressing our case count is in the hands of San Diegans.
The numbers are increasing because people are not adhering to the stay-at-home orders.
County supervisors warning there's barely any space left at our hospitals, with available ICU capacity plummeting to just 0.5% for the Southern California region.
Hospitals have told me directly that they are delaying tumor removal for cancer patients in an effort to make a bed available for a COVID patient.
Supervisor Nathan Fletcher pleading for vigilance and patience as we close out the holidays.
If you get in a car accident, you're going to want that ICU bed to be available. Our hospitals are struggling. Our healthcare workers are struggling.
28,000 San Diego healthcare workers started getting their first doses of the Pfizer vaccine this week. Residents and staff in long-term care facilities are next in line for additional shipments. But gaining widespread trust is still a hurdle for county leaders.
We arrived at a vaccine faster than we ever have before, but not because corners were cut, not because it wasn't studied, not because it wasn't researched, but because of the desire and need to get this done quicker.
4 of California's 5 regions under the stay-at-home order have now dropped below the 15% threshold for available ICU capacity. The state now adjusting nurse-to-patient ratios from 2-to-1 to 3-to-1 to assist with staffing shortages. Jennifer Dela Cruz, ABC 10 News.
And the county says those 28,000 healthcare workers will receive their second dose of the Pfizer vaccine from another shipment.
A local biotech company is moving forward with its experimental COVID-19 vaccine. Inovio is now conducting phase 2 trials. Pfizer's vaccine is already being distributed, and Moderna is just days away from getting approval. ABC 10 News reporter Mimi Okala shows us how Inovio's vaccine is different from the others.
We've been working really hard to move our vaccine through the stages of clinical testing.
Like Pfizer, Moderna, and AstraZeneca, Inovio also raced to develop a COVID-19 vaccine this year.
I think certainly some things have taken a little bit longer than we'd hoped.
Dr. Kate Broderick, the Senior VP of Research and Development at Inovio Pharmaceuticals here in San Diego, says with funding from the Department of Defense, Inovio has moved into phase 2 clinical trials this month, testing its COVID-19 vaccine candidate on approximately 400 people in the U.S.
We hope that in the early part of 2021, we'll be going into a really large phase 3 trial.
Broderick says the company aims to initially enroll about 6,000 participants in its phase 3 trial once given the green light. And data from Pfizer and Moderna's studies showing safety and efficacy of their vaccines was positive news for this biotech company.
We feel we're in a really good place. You know, there's 8 billion people on the planet, and so we're certainly going to need quite a few different types of vaccines to ensure that everybody's protected.
Broderick says one major benefit of Inovio's DNA vaccine is it doesn't have to be stored in low-temperature freezers, making it easier to ship out worldwide if approved.
In fact, we can keep it at room temperature, so just sitting on a desk somewhere for about a year with no impact.
Inovio is projecting to have 100 million doses ready to go in 2021. Broderick is still urging everyone to continue wearing masks and social distancing.
There is definitely an end in sight, but don't let your guard down too fast.
Mimi Alcala, ABC 10 News.
Inovio also announced this month that it received millions of dollars from a government agency to an antibody treatment for COVID-19 patients who aren't vaccinated. They're working on that now and hoping to get into clinical trials in 2021.
San Diego strip clubs just scored a legal victory to stay open despite the recent stricter stay-at-home order. This afternoon, a local judge sided with Cheetahs and Pacers strip clubs in their lawsuit against the county and the state. The judge said there just isn't any evidence that strip clubs have led to increased spread or risk of COVID-19. So he ruled they can stay open while the lawsuit goes through the courts. The state attorney general has threatened legal action if these strip clubs don't close. More than 100,000 San Diegans have lost their jobs amid the coronavirus outbreak, and some of those positions have disappeared forever. ABC 10 News reporter John Horn explains how San Diegans can quickly retrain for pandemic-resistant jobs as part of our series, The Rebound.
Mario Ortiz's anthropology degree from SDSU didn't launch the career he'd hoped.
Like I said, I was jumping around jobs, and I kind of want to stop the habit of doing that.
He wanted a change, so a couple years ago, he took cybersecurity courses at community college and is now pursuing a master's in the field. Other San Diegans, however, need something quicker, especially those who lost their jobs in the pandemic.
It's an expensive place to live, this county, and so we need people to be able to have jobs that will help sustain their families.
Mira Costa Superintendent Dr. Sunny Cook says the community colleges offer an affordable way to train for positions wanted now, detailed in a new report from the county's Community College Association. It identifies 66 recession and pandemic resilient jobs, 27 of which are middle skill. They require more than a high school diploma, but less than a 4-year degree. The community colleges offer certificate programs at $46 per unit for an average $2,760 per certificate program.
Get a short-term training, get into a field, stabilize their family and their lives, and then have a ladder.
The identified jobs run the gamut from web developers and cybersecurity analysts to medical assistants, registered nurses, machinists, social service workers, and biotech technicians, to name a few. In all, the report says the average entry-level salary for the jobs is $48,000 per year, with room for growth. John Horn, ABC 10 News.
And that report includes a list of fields and which local community colleges offer programs related to them. We've got a link to the full report on a special section of our website. Just go to 10news.com/rebound. In Washington, D.C., both sides are making concessions as Congress gets closer to a COVID relief bill. Negotiators are now talking about including a $600 direct payment to most Americans. There would also be enhanced unemployment benefits, although less than there were last spring. Businesses could also get some loans to help with payroll, and they say a deal could be reached soon.
We made major headway toward hammering out a targeted pandemic relief package that would be able to pass both chambers with bipartisan majorities.
We are close to an agreement. It's not a done deal yet, but we are very close.
In the negotiations, Democrats have dropped their insistence for aid for state and local governments. Republicans dropped their demand to stop businesses from being sued over COVID outbreaks. Now, so much about the pandemic is changing minute by minute, and you can stay on top of it all by downloading our free mobile app. Just go to the App Store and search 10 News.
In just 35 days, Joe Biden will be sworn in as the 46th president of the United States. The Electoral College certified his win this week, but President Trump is not happy that some Republicans are now recognizing Biden's victory and calling him president-elect. Here's ABC's Karen Travers.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell took to the Senate floor Tuesday to say what's been clear for nearly 6 weeks.
I want to congratulate President-elect Joe Biden.
McConnell sending a message to his fellow Republicans.
The decision by the Electoral College yesterday was determinative.
Republicans are starting to move on. Biden telling his vice president-elect, Senator Kamala Harris, on Monday,
7 of your colleagues have already called me, Republicans, 7 of them, mostly senior, saying they want to work with me, saying they want to work with us.
But McConnell acknowledging the political reality did not go over well with President Trump. The president slamming McConnell on Twitter, posting a link to an article about his allies turning on the Senate GOP leader, and adding his own message, writing, quote, "Too soon to give up. Republican Party must finally learn to fight." But the president's legal team and its allies have now lost more than 50 challenges in court. In a final long-shot effort to overturn the election results, some of President Trump's Republican supporters in the House say they'll mount a challenge next month when Congress officially certifies the Electoral College vote.
I have a choice. I can either sit back and surrender and be a part of the surrender caucus, or I can fight for our country. And that's what I'm going to do.
GOP Congressman Mo Brooks would need a Republican senator to join him. Mitch McConnell has told Republicans that a fight over the Electoral College would be a terrible vote and divisive for the party. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.